What's good, YouTube? It's Andy here from kaizentcg. I run an online Pokemon business. In this video, I wanted to talk about Pokemon full-time. Disclaimer, I'm still working a full-time job, but that idea of doing Pokemon full-time it gets louder and louder day by day. I've been thinking about it a lot, and on YouTube you can see countless people doing the videos of quitting your job and doing Pokemon full-time, and there's been quite a bit of examples of people that have been successful doing it. Dan Ketchum Collectibles being one of them. Z&G Emporium cleared over 50 million last year in his consignment business. And there's a lot of traps, I would say, in a 9-to-5 that you feel like your job is safe. Your AI every day, as it gets ingrained in our life and the technology improves, the white collar work is becoming less safe, I would say. Or blue collar, if you're a plumber, electrician, trades, it's a lot safer. But the work is a grind, of course. And if you love doing your job, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the people that really do love Pokemon and see a future in Pokemon and just want to do something that they enjoy and they're passionate about. And it's hard, you're gonna be working more for sure. Right now I'm doing 20, 30, 40 hours into Pokemon on top of working a regular job, right? And as the revenue continues to climb and the business is scaling, that voice gets louder and louder of jumping in full steams ahead into Pokemon. Now I'll have to have some systems in place before I do that, but yeah, I mean, working a 9-to-5, the steady paycheck feels safe, but I feel like depending on what you do, obviously, but the regular job, there's a ceiling, there's a cap. You might not like your coworkers, you might only get to a certain role, and then you got to play the politic game to climb, and the amount of potential of earnings you can make is limited after a certain amount. And with Pokemon, building your own business, it's you'll get out what you put in, right? Inputs and outputs. Like, you're looking at, and I've seen some people collect during the times I started. One person I remember his retrospects. He was just doing his flipping business, and now he's grown his business, doing wholesale for Japanese products along with other things. And I've seen the progression from making thousands into millions, and he mentioned in his last video he made close to $10 million in sales, and just finding a gap in the market and just doing wholesale for Japanese sealed product. That's just one thing that he's doing really, really well and providing value there and a service that people needed. And the way Pokemon's growing right now, there's so much opportunity out there. There's so many ways. Like Dan Ketchum, he has streamers working for him, or he's contracting. He flip grades. Doesn't do that too much of that now, but there's that. There's consignments from Z&G doing very well. Then there's people that do rip and ship, do extremely well. Then there's Bulbasaur and Garchomp doing vending along with content. That's doing amazing. And if you have the capital, there's the side of having an LGS. Now, I probably wouldn't do an LGS, wouldn't recommend it, just because how hard it is and how capital intensive it is. But that's a lot of people's end game goal if they want to do this hobby long term, perhaps. And that's a way as well. And then you got Eli from Pokémon USA. He has a wholesale program. I remember when he started that program, and it was just a membership to grow his allocations. And he's not even taking, like, he could be making millions more, but he's allocating that to his members. And then he did that and then grew his business, opened his stores up. And it's awesome to see, like, people thriving, going in full time. I think, you know, you got to burn the boats. If you believe in this and you want to get outsized return, you got to take outsized risk, right? Playing it safe. Now, everybody is different, obviously, but playing it safe, you're going to have a capped result, in my opinion. And with Pokemon now, how legitimate it's become. Like 5 years ago, we were just talking about, wow, are there people making 6 figures in this hobby? Now, 5 years later, in a short time, people are clearing easy 6 figures into 7 figures in this hobby now. And there's so many ways to do it, right? Grading is another way. You can be a grader, which is a little bit harder, but it's doable. And then you can be just selling singles online, TCG player, eBay, Facebook groups. There's that channel that people are really good. Some people have huge eBay stores that are doing 7 figures or more. And then there's people that do the content side. You don't even have to sell anything. Just make good content and make a living off of YouTube ad revenue and sponsorship, just doing really good content. There's that side of it too. Then there's the side of being a middleman, in terms of middleman grading service, right? There's the middleman grading service that you can help people grade a certain, I know here in Canada, there's KD Collectibles. I seen him start his business back in COVID, and now he's one of the biggest accounts for grading, and he's just providing that service for people that don't know how to grade or do the process, and he's doing it, and he's be able to give people a good service, charging a small premium and doing huge volumes, making millions from that. And then you got people that are doing art design. Like, I met a girl at the event, she does stickers, and she's making out of college, right? She enjoys Pokemon, and she has a skill in art, and she's able to use her skill, her talent, and make a living just selling stickers at the shows. And then I know someone that's doing 3D printing. They're providing toys and making risers for cases, and they're making income from that. And there's so many ways. And then even, you know, all the stores in Etsy, people doing design, doing slab. You could put like the background design on your slab to extend the art. So there's that side of it too. It's not only selling cards, Pokemon and overall, there's just so many avenues, so many opportunity. Content creation's blowing up more than ever. And yeah, just going over the fear of how risky it is, but I feel like staying stuck or stagnant at a job that you don't like, and you're just wasting away. Life is short, and we're in a golden era of TCG, and it doesn't have to be in Pokemon, just TCG. Like, One Piece is blowing up. If you have that passion, you have the knowledge, you have the energy for it, I think taking that leap of faith is not a bad idea. Because life is short. All of this is going to be gone at some point, and you want to look back and be like, hey, I had a passion for something, and it's scary, facing the fear, but you never know what could come out the other side. I think you don't want to look back and in the future, look back when you're older and be like, man, back in 2026, I could have started a a Pokemon business or a TCG business and I didn't do it and I missed my chance, you know? I don't want to live with that regret. And last year I took vending a lot more serious. It was my first year, it was my rookie year, as you'd say. And this year, I'm on my year 2. Definitely more experienced, more seasoned, and taking it a lot more serious, selling online. And the collector investor side of me put that little bit on the back burner. I still invest, I still collect, but vending, selling, buying, taking it serious as a business has become the main priority for the business. And that's why I created this YouTube channel, to document my journey. And you know, we'll look back at this video and perhaps 6 months, a year, 2 years, who knows? It could be the beginning of, hey, I did take that leap of faith to do this full time. That would be amazing, right? But of course, there are risks. You definitely want to have your ducks in a row, like have a savings, have money set aside in case there's an emergency, have networks and connections, and having sales channels kind of figured out for the business. Figure out what you want to do in this space. Figure out what your talents are and what gives you energy. What, like Naval says, what feels like work to other but feels like play to you. I think that's very important. You know, like vending, when we're at a busy show, I love it. I have such a good time. 6, 7, 8, 10 hours go by. It doesn't even feel like I'm working. I'm just interacting, having fun, and I'm kind of chasing that feeling, the energy that gives. You know, it gives me energy. Do things that give you energy, right? Slaving behind a desk or working somewhere, it could be sucking away your creative energy or just your passion in general. And I think giving Pokemon a real shot it's actually not that risky. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen, right? Let's talk about what's the worst thing that can happen. Like, baseline, sure, worst thing, you can go get another job. You get back to where you are, back to square one again and start over. That's the worst thing. You're not gonna die, right? And it could be, you're gonna be on a friend's couch or moving back with your parents. That's the worst thing. Could be way worse, right? And what's the best thing that can happen? Yeah, you might not be the next Pokerev or a multi-millionaire from Pokemon, but hey, you could be doing something, building something for yourself that you enjoy building. Because would you rather build someone else's dream or build your own dream, right? And with Pokemon, it's a vehicle that gives those opportunities that you take the leap of faith, and who knows what can happen. A lot of people, like, you look at vending POVs, you see Bulbasaur, he just put a camera up and he created content, and look where his business is now. And it's just taking that leap of faith, believe in your own skills and believe in yourself. I think that's the main belief. And I think it'll be the in-between. Like, we look at the end result of perhaps we can be the next, PokeTuber or the biggest Pokemon inventory. There's always someone better out there. Like, that might not happen. But, in between, if you can pay your bills, have some money in the bank, make money, and continue to grow your inventory or chase that creative passion with Pokemon and using it as a vehicle, you never know what doors will open. And I think it's the fear and the imposter syndrome. Even for me, like, what would have happened if I created content back in COVID time, just documenting my collecting journey into investing journey, now into the business side? Like, where would I be? Who knows, right? But if I documented all that during the social media, like, I'd probably be much further ahead. Now, everybody's on their own journey. You're your own RPG character and you're on your own hero's journey. So Everything happens for a reason. And I'm here today documenting my journey, and I want to see where this goes. Like I said, life is short, right? We only have so many waking hours to do things, and I've been in jobs where I hated it. But the jobs that I hated, honestly, helped me in the way that it reinforced that I didn't want to do that, especially for the rest of my life. I've done corporate jobs, and it was good experience, but the politicking of corporate and everything behind that stuff wasn't for me. It's not for my personality. And COVID, I found Pokemon for the nostalgia, and it brought back a lot of joy. And one thing, like last year, that was a big thing for me is the amount of people that I met, the amount of cool people that I've met in the hobby through vending. We went to a show on the weekend, and 20 of us vendors went to go eat after, and just hung out and had a good time and just shared experiences and just having fun. Like it was so fun, you know. And I feel like the more fun you have, especially in your job or your life, the more you can thrive and flourish and do it for the long term. And Pokemon for me is long term. I have a passion for it, right? So I'm not talking to the people that, hey, you're here for a quick flip, you're trying to make money. I get it. But if you don't have the passion, when things go stagnant, things go down, you'll be racing for the exits. Just like a couple months ago when Pokemon kind of had its decline period there, correction there, people ran for the exits, panic sold. They weren't really about it, right? And then a lot of people jumping ship for One Piece. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you like, One Piece, go for it. I think there's opportunity there to build a business too, as long as you're passionate about it and you're willing to work and have a competitive advantage in terms of just putting in more hours and more research than the average person. You can get ahead. And I think there's just so many doors in Pokemon right now and TCG that the bull market is when you want to see if you can push this thing to the limit. You know, a lot, like I said, I mentioned earlier in the video, all these guys that kind of started full time, like some of them had 6-figure jobs, right? Some of them had 6-figure jobs, good corporate jobs. You got doctors, lawyers, all these type of people, great jobs, but they pivoted towards something they're passionate about, which is Pokemon. And it's something special in the community. And for me, yeah, even just some of the friends I've met along the way in this collecting journey have been still my friends to this day. Some of my good friends, good people. And I wouldn't have met these people if I wasn't a part of the community. I wasn't part of Pokemon, so it's given me a lot. And I feel like I want to build something special in this business. And I'm working towards that. Working towards in the future here to make it a reality of making the Pokemon dream a full-time thing. And end of the day, if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. You could still go get another job. You could still work for someone else. So why not? Why not just build something of your own? And not to say you have to go crazy at the beginning. It's just like me. I started small, started collecting. My investments of sealed product, appreciated, use that money as seed money and on top of cards that I collected over the year to start building an inventory to sell, and then use that to kind of kickstart the business. You know, everybody has a different part of their journey and different amount of capital or resources, and I get it, but I don't think there's a greater time than now. You know, the best time to start was 20 years ago, but the next best time to start is today. And I think if you believe in it, and make sure you're not in debt, your finances are good, you have food on, like there's a way to put food on the table. You maybe some people, you got a sugar mama, right? You have a wife that can pay the bills, and then you could be the risky one. There's that side of it too, stability there, and obviously if you're a young person with no kids, no family, you can take the risk. I see these young guys running around when I was in the States, in Seattle front row, like these young guys are dropping 6 figures, doing and just being a sourcing agent basically. And that's another job you can do in this hobby, being a sourcing agent, and basically going to the shows, doing the legwork, buying stuff at 85%, and then flipping it for 2 to 5% at volume, and then it's like you're selling, say, $100,000 of slabs, and you tack on a 5% on top of that, you're making that 5K in a day or two's work, and just traveling around to all the different shows and venues and doing that, right? So there's just and that takes us obviously a specific person, and everybody has a different stage in their life. It's a lot harder if you have kids and stuff like that, but I see a lot of people that have kids are in the hobby. I've made some new friends, and they're taking it serious, and I think you won't know unless you try, and you just don't know where this hobby can go. Like, I never would imagined how explosive 2025 was in the hobby for most of us. And if you're in the hobby, because I remember during the COVID boom, that's when I was just beginning to collect, and at that time I didn't even have the business mindset or anything. That I was just a collector, and then I turned to an investor like a year later. But the collecting side, and I was like, man, these guys made life-changing money overnight. Like Dan Ketchum Collectible made millions, and all these guys that paved the way, I had SM Pratt, TCA Gaming, like all these OGs, they laid the blueprint of like, hey, this is possible, right? And even then, you have kind of like imposter syndrome in the sense that you go, I wasn't collecting back in 2015 or whenever they started, and they had amassed a huge collection, and the appreciation of it went up crazy. And then you think, man, I can't do it. But now for me, 6 years looking back, I'm in a decent position. And if I would have stopped collecting, or if I would have just been like, hey, I didn't believe I can do it, I wouldn't be where I am currently. And not to say that I'm anything crazy, but it's significant amount of money for sure. But I see, like, I'm a super hyper shill and bullish for Pokemon, just because I've seen the boom and bust cycle, and going to the shows, I get to see, and whatever you hear online is just hearsay. People have their angles, people have their MO, or they have their agenda, so take everything that with a grain of salt. Just like me right now talking to this camera, take it with a grain of salt. I'm just some random guy on the internet talking about, should you quit your job and do Pokemon full time? And yeah, so when you see it in person, the amount of people that I still meet that are brand new to the hobby, or they're coming back to the hobby, they're buying their first slab, they're buying their first booster box, they're buying their first card. It just, the health of the hobby is amazing. And here, yeah, I'm in a big city here in BC, Vancouver, but compared to Ontario and the States, we're quite small. And if this is happening here like this, I would imagine across the country, across the world, it's just infiltrated and proliferated to something we can't even really imagine. And it's continuing to grow. It's hitting so many generations of people a lot of parents collecting with their kids, and that's how they're coming back into the hobby. A lot of kids interacting with the video game and the app, and just continuing to come back to the hobby. Like even Black and White, I sell some stuff, and I talk to young people that are in their mid-20s going into 30s. They have careers now, and they remember they used to play Black and White on the DS, and then that new set kind of brought them back, and Pokemon's doing a good job of just bringing back that nostalgia for each of the generations and stuff like that. So I think we got a ways to go here now. Will going full-time work? You just never know. You got to burn the boats. As Christopher Columbus, when he came over here, they burnt the boats, and you got go all in. And if you go all in and see what happens, right? There's so many proof of people last year that took that leap of faith and was able to thrive, make multitudes of levels of gains over what they would have at a regular 9-to-5 job. And they've grown exponentially, and you have to take that risk to get the outsized return. And going back to it, I don't know, working just a regular office job or just a regular job, it feels risky because you could get replaced at any time. Like when I was working corporate, I was just another number. It doesn't matter if I was one of the top salesmen that they had. If you don't fit in their plans, and they can find someone younger or whatever, they had their own agendas, and they can just replace you. It's just a cog in a huge machine. Why not be making something of your own? And depending on your lifestyle and everything and what you want to do, there's so many ways to grow in this business. Just to recap, there's vending, there's flipping, there's grading, there's opening your own online store. There's someone like DJ Poke Center. He's trying to get distro, and he's doing an online store, buying collections at a percentage, selling it percentage, making a margin online. There's people that do consignments, Z&G, Dan. There's people that run stream teams on Whatnot, highly successful. There's people doing their own streaming, rip and ships. There's content creators. There's artists, people designing different stickers and different art designs. They're making a business out of that. There's 3D printing. There's people that are selling supplies. I know some people are selling like look at Graded Guard. Graded Guard's blown up tremendously, providing a need for collectors that want to soup up their collection and stuff like that, right? So that being said, I'm probably missing a few. And then there's eBay, there's Amazon, there's an eBay. You can sell single slabs, sealed supplies, and then there's TCG Player. There's so many ways. People selling bulk. You just gotta find your avenue and what you wanna do in this hobby and get really good at it. Pick a few things and master it. Become a master. Become the best as you can, and that'll give you the best shot of making this thing a full-time. And whatever happens, you just never know. We don't know the future, of course, but how the hobby's grown and the potential and just seeing everything, how it's played out, I'm extremely bullish. And that's that voice in my head. It's getting louder of making that leap full time. And like I said, I could be making a video in the future talking about making that leap, but I'm laying down the foundation, the groundwork first, making sure everything's ready before I make that leap of faith. And what do you guys think? Are you grappling with this in your business? Are you planning to jump in Pokemon full time or even doing it as a side hustle. Drop in the comments below, and I appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you do like the video, please comment, like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And I appreciate you guys checking it out. You guys have an awesome day. Andy out. Peace.